wonderful to have this painting back in the galleries because it really gives us an opportunity to bring the world to Oregon and Oregon to the world. Getting the painting back up on the wall was really special, and I owe a lot of thanks to our chief conservator, Charlotte, and also our curator of European and American art, Lloyd DeWitt. And both of them worked very hard to make sure the painting was really at the artist's intent, or expressed the artist's intent. So bringing the varnish back to what the artist wanted revealed so much. It revealed the color tones, the values, the depth, and really the natural light that it was supposed to be shown in.
Welcome back. Since the last video, I have been busy finishing up the devarnishing of the painting, as well as doing a very small amount of in-painting, basically retouching that is confined to only areas of loss. When I'm doing the in-painting, I'm using materials that are completely different from the original materials because I want the material that I'm putting on, A, to be removable, and B, to be distinguishable from the original. I'm matching by eye, and instead of doing broad brushstrokes like the artist would, I'm using a number 00 tiny little brush, and I'm just putting tiny little dots of paint on the surface. I will say probably one of the biggest takeaways for me is how profoundly different these late Monets are from the rest of his body of work, and that they really are a very different animal, and that his whole vision and artistic intent for these paintings is really different from what he's doing the rest of the time that he's painting in his earlier Waterlily series. I think it's hard for us coming from our perspective today to step back into the mindset of someone in the 1910s that hasn't seen abstract expressionism and hasn't seen sort of these very vigorously brushed, unvarnished surfaces, and to come upon this is just this extraordinarily different thing.
I agree. I was really impressed. We were just seeing through a mirror darkly, in a sense, just peering through. We could see that the painting would become a very different painting just by being revealed through this process. Happily, the condition was great. So that just made it extra rewarding because we weren't dealing with a compromised surface. What looked flat and very modern because it was flat looking, in fact, came to life, a surface of great complexity. And I think that was what was especially exciting.
One of the things the removal of the varnish did is made you realize how the actual surface of the painting and those brush strokes and the way the paint is applied is as much a part of the painting as the color and as the subject, and that Monet is really going into this territory that no one else has at that point in time.
I thought it helped explain why this painting was selected by Michel for his dining room wall, because it was a particularly successful and ambitious work in terms of pushing the limits of painting, and it also, again, helped explain why it was such an important painting. The documentation suggested it had been there for at least 4 decades.
You know, Monet did over 200 water lily paintings, and having one of his most iconic in our collection is quite special. But I think what makes it extra special for us too is the foresight of the trustees and this community in the 1950s when they acquired it. And they took a chance. They understood that maybe this would be good for our community for decades later, our children's children. So to be good stewards of this painting in particular, and to have this history behind it, means so much to all of us here.
For me, a project of this length it's always a really bittersweet moment when something like that leaves the studio, because you've not only lived with it, you've lived like this far away from it for a year and a half of your life, and then suddenly it's gone. There's a sense of pride that it's out there in the world and looking better than it did, but there is sort of also this weird sense of, I guess, loss is maybe the best way I could describe it. So it is a little bittersweet.
What I think is so great is that people make new discoveries based on what gets uncovered through these devarnishing projects that are happening throughout just select museums where that have this capacity. So I think it becomes a new painting. In a way, you're not painting it yourself, but you're in a way revealing something that's been completely obscured for many, many decades. And everyone here is kind of mesmerized by it when all our visitors who really, I think, find it quite arresting what they're seeing here.
This project has really exceeded every expectation that I had for it. It's been great to have such a open and willing collaborator to work with on this project, and I feel like we've learned so much about this painting working together and just having these great dialogues and looking at it together and talking about it. And I would say from my point of view, it's not only making our community and our visitors aware that the objects in the museum need care, but making them aware of the painting, again, maybe allowing them to see it in a different way.
And I think our role now is to make sure that our children's children will have this great painting in their view and part of their community after we pass it off to the next generation.
I would love it if people come and just feel a sense of pride that this painting exists in this museum in their community. And no photograph will ever do justice to what this painting looks like, so you really, really must come see it in person.